Polyface, farm of many faces, is a naturally sustained non-industrial food production enterprise located in Shenandoah Valley, Virginia. With 150 acres land for pastures and 450 acres of forested land, Polyface is an initiative which is connected to the grassroots level and runs entirely by nature's instinct. This type of method uses unconventional types and techniques with the goal of economically and environmentally enhancing agriculture. This farm is more like an ecological system than conventional farming. Polyface Farm operates a farm store on site where consumers go to pick up their own products. Core idea: as Joel Salatin states, we are ideally producing grass at Polyface, all of the rest sustains itself. The main idea behind this extravagant business model is the fact that nutritious and tender grass is the key to a good produce. Now, limiting the area available for grazing does not restrict the animals. However, instead it is a regenerative process which feeds more and more animal in the same duration as compared to free-range grazing. Salatin encourages people to buy locally and save small businesses. Salatin highly believes that it is very advantageous for the customer to know where the food actually comes from. Also, in this type of farming, the small size of pasture forces the cattle to eat all the grass.
Polyphase farming is completely on a grass-based farming. It contains multi-layer stages which requires observation and time. Business model is depending on taking advantage of animals' physiological differences. uh, in business model, the sustainability, which aims to maintain the capital intact, then effective use of resources inherent in land, then recognize animals nature indication, focus on incredible grass quality, and yes, timing and access is the key for business model. And there are improvement areas in model which can be like sales can be enhanced, variety of produce can be increased, price margins can be increased to reach a greater consumer base, and increase uh, capital expenditure by a small margin. Thank you.
Based on the research our team has carried out on the Polyface farm, we realized that the Polyface business model in itself is an extremely balanced and a holistic idea. The sustainability of the model comes from the fact that it has its roots in nature. We, as a team, would like to suggest some additional ideas into the business model of Polyface. We, however, have made sure that the changes that we are putting forward do not alter the natural connect Polyface farm has with nature. We realized that the consumers are willing to pay much more than what they are actually paying for the Polyface farm produce. This comes from the fact that the Polyface farm produce is extremely pure, and hence increasing price margins to an acceptable level might lead to increase in revenues in the long run. Also, organizing frequent open farm days and inviting more and more people to witness the purity of the process might increase the faith people have in Polyface, and hence would increase the consumer base. Increasing media presence to spread word of mouth. Polyface in recent times has been involved in controversy with Mother Earth News, and hence increasing the media presence and getting involved with more and more media houses would spread a better image of Polyface farm. Also, increasing the capital expenditure from current amount of $0.5 per $4 of revenue to about $1.5 to $2 will also help. Now, I would like to talk about the presence of ample of opportunities in the operations side of Polyface, which could lead to an increase in inflow of revenue for the farm over a period of time. Increasing the land holding to exponentially increase the level of operations, which means more cattle, more birds, and more output. Naturally, increasing the land holding would mean an increase in the number of cattle, animals, and birds associated with the land. However, since there is an ever-increasing demand from the consumer side for the farm produce, this can be handled effectively. The grapes, which are produced on the family's own vineyard for their own consumption, can be sold out as produce in the markets on a trial basis, or they can be sold to wine producing factories for the production of wine. Selling milk from cattle and cows raised on Polyface's own farm can also be an effective merchandise sale. Timber used for making birds' paddocks can also be sold to local craftsmen, carpenters, and wood traders in and around area of Virginia. Regularly collect the superficial layer of land from the birds' paddocks. It contains manure and feathers of birds, which can be packed off and sold as an effective fertilizer. Also, we recommend increasing the workforce by 2 people to take care of the additional tasks that have been recommended in the operations of Polyphase above.
Our study encourages various additions to supply chain. First point is delivery radius. Expanding delivery radius can increase consumer base and more sales. Second, consumers are unwilling to drive down such distances. Hence, establishing a better delivery system to ensure goods are delivered to a specified location. For this, more delivery vehicles and more delivery workforce possibly be needed. Third, restaurants are extremely interested in having Polyface products in their kitchens. We recommend to sign agreements with more and more restaurants to increase sale of produce. Increase the number of retailers and sellers selling Polyface produce and expand areas beyond existing ones. Introduce medium range forecasting at regular intervals of 3 months to 3 years, depending on seasonal changes. This would give an idea of sales, production planning, and budgeting. Applying the quantitative method of forecasting approach. Application of the Delphi method, where panel of experts is formed to query repeatedly until consensus is reached. Make an estimate of sales force composites. Do the consumer market survey regularly. Study concludes that the Polyface business model in itself is a holistic and a completely balanced model, which stands against the cultural stigma against agrarian existence. It is an example of regenerative symbiotic nature of God's creation. It is an extremely successful venture and a unique thought.